Hello folks, welcome to Dry Spark. This is Bharadwaj and you join me in a bright and sunny morning where we are in a petrol pump and with the Citroen eC3. Now why am I in a petrol pump with an electric car? Just to start off on a funny note. But we are not messing around this time because we will be doing a real world range test of this electric car today and we will report back with numbers. I'm starting with around 99% charge and a range of around 230 kilometers is what it indicates. However, Citroen claims that this can go up to 320 kilometers and we are going to be driving around Bangalore to test just that. So let's get started and we shall do some interesting range tests right now. I have set a few rules while I'm attempting to do this real world range test on the Citroen eC3. First things first, I am going to be running AC throughout. I am not going to compromise on the comfort, so I will not be switching off the AC throughout the entire run. And second is that I'll be traveling at city speeds. Little bit of a highway drive is also present where I'll be doing around 80 km per hour, but overall I will try to maintain an average speed of around 30 to 40 km per hour, which is what you will do in your city travel. So on that note, let us see what the Citroen eC3 can return over full charge of battery. And also during the drive I will be visiting a couple of locations across Bangalore, in and around Bangalore. So I will talk a little bit about that and talk a little bit about the car as well. And this is not going to be only a range test, but a different take on the Citroen eC3 while doing the range test. So on that note, I am heading to the first location, which is around 35 to 40 kilometers away, near Banagata, outskirts of Bangalore, and I am heading towards a dam. I'll tell you more about that location once I reach there, so I shall catch you guys on that location.
I like the green, I get a taste and become a fiend. I make it seem like it really do be.
So now we have reached our first destination, that's the Muningara Dam in the outskirts of Bangalore. We have traveled around 35-40 kilometers and the range update on this is at 85% charge. With that, the whole reason you want to go eco-friendly is to protect green corridors like these, and what better way to do it other than to going electric and choosing an electric car. Now the Citroen eC3, I want to talk a little bit about the design. You can see a very contemporary design along with the flair of a French design right here. You get these X-shaped front end and you also get to see a more conventional approach rather than a closed grille. The grille is open, that's because it is a air-cooled electric powertrain unit. On the side as well, you get a very good stance of the SUV, and at the rear as well, you get those C-shaped LED tail lamps. That gives this C3 a very SUV-ish and also a very modern design, which could be a timeless one in the years to come. On that note, it's time to move on to our second location, that's the Hesarghata Grasslands. It's time to go. So now we are heading towards Hesarghata Grasslands and I'm on the highway, so I'm doing at around 80-85 kilometers per hour, and it seems to be very comfortable place to sit in. Previous to this, we have taken the car a little bit off-road and on broken piece of tarmac as well. The suspension is certainly something that the Citroen eC3 trumps on, because Citroen works with the comfortable ride or the magic carpet ride they call it. And that is certainly seen on the eC3 as well. It is a very comfortable ride. Over rough patches, it will just glide over at moderate speeds. Overall, it is a very comfortable place to sit in. The seat has good cushion. However, it is a tad bit small though. For a generous person like me, I would have loved to see a bigger seat. But having said that, it's just nitpicking. Now let us continue our journey towards the Hesarghata Grasslands, and I shall give you a range and a charge update. On that note, I would also like to tell that I am using my phone via navigation through Android Auto, and this gets that 10.1-inch infotainment system along with wireless Android Auto, Apple CarPlay at this price range, which is very good because I feel the Android Auto is a little bit underrated in cars. It makes the life behind the wheel much more easier because you got the maps, you got the music, and you got everything else being read out on the screen, and you do not have to take your eyes away much, and this adds to the convenient travel in the Citroen eC3. Now we have reached our second location. That's the Hesarghata Grasslands that you see here. This is actually the Hesarghata Lake. It is home to a lot of species of birds, and also it is an ecological corridor, and to protect such places is why we opt to drive the electric vehicle. And on that note, let me give you a little bit update about the range. So we have completed 50% of our journey, and so is the battery. It is down by 50%, and we have approximately clocked around 100 kilometers. Now let me tell you that I was not at all eking out during my journey because I am simulating the real world scenarios. I was doing overtakes, I was using less of a regen, I was not forcefully regening it, and also I was not easy on the throttle. I was rather generous for an electric vehicle. So this is a real world scenario, and on that I have got 100 kilometers on the 50% battery. Now from here I will actually travel to a racetrack, and let me talk a little bit about the performance when I reach there, and I shall catch you guys on the other side where I will give you a further update when I reach the third location. So now we are moving to our third location. That's a small go-karting track. It's actually one of the biggest go-karting track that Bangalore has. The racing scene in Bangalore is very different. I will talk about that when I reach the location, but let me talk the unracing thing that we can do with the electric cars. Yes, that I'm talking about how an electric car should be driven. So there is this misconception that you should go slow to get maximum range in an electric car. To an extent that is right, but there are a lot of other factors that will affect what the range that you can get in an electric car, including the weather. A hot summer day like this, your range will be better than a cold day because electricity is closely associated with the amount of heat. The more the battery loses the heat, the conduction becomes less and the range becomes less. So if it is in optimum operating temperature, which is right now, so the range will actually be closer to the indicated range. With that, there is also another scenario of accelerating or even moving. So you cannot press the accelerator like how you press on the petrol cars, because it'll ask the battery to give the power immediately, and second, you really need not, because the power delivery from the electric vehicle is very immediate as compared to an electric vehicle, which will take a lot of time because of mechanical lags. So you do not have to really trod on the electric pedal for harder. You can start accelerating the car very gently so that your range is enhanced. And also, when you're decelerating, it's better to take off the accelerator slowly so that the regen, if it's present on a vehicle like this, it starts to kick in, and by that way you can start to recover energy from the regen system and add in some range to your battery. So the regen system on this car is not so strong as opposed to the other cars where you can do a single foot driving. So the regen is adequate to put a charge of around 5 to 10% for overall 100% if you eke out and drive the car. So if you concentrate more on regen, you can put a maximum of 10% back to the battery, and I think you can get somewhere around 10 to 20 kilometers for that matter of fact. Now let's move on towards the racetrack, and as I mentioned, it's gonna be a little bit of a city traffic and a city drive from here. So there you have it. It's one of the biggest karting track available in Bangalore, and as I mentioned earlier, it is time to talk about the performance of the eC3. Now this comes paired with a 30 kilowatt hour battery, 29.2 to be exact, and the motor produces 57 PS of power and 147 Newton meters of torque. This can go up to 107 kilometers of top speed, and 0 to 60 is dealt within 6.8 seconds. On that note, electric cars are not only about eco-friendly and environmental friendly, it is also about performance, which if you see on the Citroen eC3 delivers just that. On that note, now it's time to talk about the update on the range and the charge that we have. So the remaining charge is around 35% and we have traveled around 130 kilometers on that charge. Now it's time to head back and complete our real world range test of the Citroen eC3. So now we have come to the end of our real world range test on the Citroen eC3, and here are some interesting numbers. So when I started off at 99% battery charge, it showed me a indicated range of around 230 kilometers, and right now I have depleted the battery to 17% and I still have 50 kilometers of indicated range left, which I think could go around 40 kilometers. And we have done 165 kilometers on the remaining charge, which was exhausted. So on that note, if you would drive the eC3 like how you would drive a petrol car or even a diesel car for that matter of fact, you would end up with a real world range of around 200 kilometers or even more so if you are a little careful as well. On that note, let me put these numbers to a perspective. So if you are planning to buy the Citroen eC3, you can charge it fully for the 29.2 kilowatt hour, and it will take you somewhere around 240 to 250 rupees for a full charge. For 250 rupees, you'll be able to travel somewhere around 200 to 220 kilometers from a full charge. Now compared to a diesel car, it would cost you somewhere around 1000 rupees or 1200 rupees to do the same amount of kilometers. And as far as the petrol car is concerned, it would cost you somewhere around 1500 to even 1600 rupees. So there is the point. If you are planning for an electric car, it certainly is one of the most economical way to travel. However, given the limitations of an electric car, intercity travel is something that you will have to really plan about. On that note, what would you choose? Would you choose the electric version over the petrol C3? Let us know in the comments below. Like and share this video and do subscribe to DriveSpark if you haven't done it already. This is Bharadwaj and I shall see you in the next one.